Drag is art, and art is subjective.
Drag is art, and art is subjective.
Today I'm going to be reviewing episodes 7 and 8 of season 6 of Dragula, and if you want to see my review of episodes 9 and 10, which includes the finale, then head on over to the Patreon and patronize me. Jaharia walks in the workroom, revealing to us, the viewer at home, that she survived the extermination.
I stayed for the clearly obvious reasons. Like, I've been doing fucking fantastic. I have more to show.
I'm happy about this because I finally figured out how the exterminations work. They're pointless. Anti-female superhero calls Grey Matter out for being quiet in the competition, and then he opens up the deli to talk inches and says, "I speak softly and carry a big stick."
It's like speak softly and carry a big stick. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Do I even need to say I would like to see it? Because I would like to see it, but I think you know I would like to see it, so let's move on. For the main challenge, they have to make a Dungeons & Dragons inspired look and get in pairs to choreograph a battle sequence.
Now, it's time to learn your race.
Grey Matter.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Yuri.
Pacific Islander.
The ghouls decide their groups. Asia gets stuck with Yuri and says she's worried about working with her because she was homeschooled.
She was homeschooled, so I don't know if she'll be able to bring it out.
They work on their looks. They work on their looks. Yuri has a gorgeous jacket on, and Jaharia is making their look out of a stretch sequin. So that's when I started thinking that Miss Girl might be Miss Gone if they don't overperform in the challenge. They start doing their makeup, and Asia notices that Pi seems a little nervous, so they go to the side to have a private chat. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves on reality television, is people having private conversations and whispering. Do you forget that you're mic'd up? You have mic packs on.
Hey guys, let's chew on my grandmother's breast implants. So before we start chewing, you guys.
Basically, Pi tells Asia that she's in an alliance with Auntie and that she didn't give her a chance to say no, which is hilarious because they immediately show footage that reminds us that Pi is a liar.
Are you thinking that we could work together on this? Are we not already?
Are you thinking that we could work together on this? Is what Pi said. Pi directly asked Auntie to be in an alliance and then told Asia that she was backed into a corner and couldn't say no. Pi is an amazing drag artist and also fakeasfuck.edu. The Boulets open the floor show looking stunning as always in complimentary gender-bent Lumiere cosplay gowns. I love it. They do the actual performance part on this forest set, which is very cinematic, but just like any modern movie, I can barely see anything. So I couldn't really see the details in the looks at all, but everyone looked fairly monstrous. Except for Jaharia. Even in this bad lighting, I could see that her costume was questionable. The question being, is that Walter Mercado? Asia and Yuri's looks actually showed up pretty well because they had more white and glow-in-the-dark components that made the looks easier to see. Also, they both looked like toys come to life, which may or may not have been the challenge. We'll find out when we get to the judging. Oh, hold on. James is telling me that that's right now.
What is your favorite race?
Well, I can't choose just one. Let me go ahead and list my top 10 ethnic groups. Starting at number 1, the Who's from Whoville. Little Boulay says Auntie and Grey Matter were the strongest in the challenge, and I say, okay, that's not what I saw, but again, okay. On the opposite end, they say Asia and Yuri were hot garbage, and again, I have to say, okay, because that's not what I saw, but okay. And they really drag Asia for not being an archer, but it's like, mama, this is drag. She's not a monster either.
She pulled out an arrow and dropped it. She pulled it back and just let go. I mean, it was like the opposite of an archer. It was actually comedic.
Auntie and Grey Matter get great critiques, and being able to see the looks in better lighting, I don't like them, and I hate the color palette. However, everyone that got good critiques has this nasty color palette, and I don't play D&D, so it could be a reference to the game that I'm not getting. They do more critiques, and this is when I conclude that I just don't like this prompt or the D&D challenge because nobody looks scary, and also no one's serving fashion except for Yuri and Asia, but the judges told me that they were hot garbage. So then Auntie and Grey Matter share a double win for this week's challenge, and I don't think they should have won because I don't think anybody should have won because I don't think they should have done this challenge. It felt very Disney Channel. That means Asia and Jaharia are up for extermination, and for this week's challenge, they have to answer riddles. Seems simple, right? No, if they get it wrong, then they have to get a horrible tattoo. Before the extermination, the bitches talk backstage, and Asia repeats what I said at the beginning of this episode.
But I know it's your time. You've been up for extermination 2 times in a row. I just don't see you walking back in those doors.
The extermination challenges mean nothing. Jaharia sent herself home when she chose that ugly sequin. Then we get to the extermination and Cynthia Doll is back. Thank God, it's been too long. She reads the first riddle and they both get it wrong, so they both get to 2s. Then they get the second riddle wrong, then Asia gets the third riddle right, but chooses to get the 2 anyway. And while the girls are getting titted, they have a beautiful conversation about the struggles of being... About what? About what? About About who cares? And while the girls are getting titted, they have a beautiful conversation about being performers in the alternative space. Asia says that it's hard being a POC in the alternative drag scene because it can be more exclusive and discriminatory than the mainstream. I love hearing this be talked about because queer folk ain't kinfolk. You might be in a queer-friendly space, but how do you feel about the blacks? We're skipping on over to episode 8, and this is where I remind you that if you want to see my review of episodes 9 and 10, which includes the finale, then go to the Patreon to patronize me to get exclusive reviews of not only this show, but other shows as well. At the top of this episode, Asia comes Sebastian Bach, and then shows the class her ass tattoo, and then her and Auntie get into it because Auntie is delusional. Asia says her extermination lit a fire under her, and then Auntie says her extermination lit a fire under her, and then Asia says that's because her extermination was some bullshit.
I lip sync against another person that is an incredible artist. That's what's difficult.
What was difficult was watching you ruin a song that I already didn't like.
What I did was just as difficult as anybody else.
Oh, it was.
Can we agree on that?
I'm so glad you asked because the answer is no. For Auntie's argument to work, she would have had to 1, be a great lip syncer, and then 2, go up against another great lip syncer. That would have been a challenge and hard. From what we saw, it looked like neither Auntie nor Vivi were lip syncers, and Auntie was only saved for her track record. End of story. The Boulets tell the ghouls that the challenge this week is to create a monster inspired from the term Frankenhooker. Great theme. And for the fright feat, they have to do electrical chairs while answering Dragula trivia. Israel puts shock collars on the contestants. That's so Israel. And then Cynthia Doll starts the questions.
Who was stabbed running from figures in boulet masks?
A contestant.
Asia gets a question that I could have answered, and I've only seen 75% of one season of this show.
I don't blank my brother. He blanks me.
I don't f my brother. He fucks me. Rest in peace, Majesty.
I desperately need to watch Majesty's original season, though, to get the context behind that line. Asia wins and gets to cast a balding curse on someone right before the floor show. Then we see the ghouls work on their looks. Auntie and Pi take a break to talk about their fake alliance. Pi wants to tell Auntie that she's been playing both sides, but instead she says that Auntie is untrustworthy because Pi is confusing, frustrating, fake, I don't know, all the words.
I don't know if I can, trust you like that.
You can't trust Auntie, the person that you asked to be in an alliance with you, knowing it was a conflict of interest.
I think she just kind of assumed that we were in an alliance together.
She assumed you asked her to be in an alliance, she said yes, and then you called her untrustworthy. Pi is making me miss Majesty and Desiree. I want Pi to go away. Asia then reveals who she's going to curse, and she chooses to scalp herself. Gag. We thought Asia was going to choose Auntie for the curse because they got into it at the beginning of the episode, but they had a boring heart-to-heart that made Asia change her mind. I'm only bringing this up because it would be the second time that Asia's had the opportunity to send Auntie home and has said she's going to do it and then has changed her mind last minute. It's annoying. We make it to the floor show and the Boulets are in surprisingly soft looks, which I like. Something about it gives Jennifer Coolidge, but I don't know what. Now for the contestants, Yuri's look was stunning. It was giving, why are you doing this to us? Because you're home. Pi's look was great, and I loved the No Loads Refused tattoo on the back. Grey Matter's look was just like Yuri's, but more hooker and more Frankenstein. Auntie's look was a bit simple and confusing to me. It didn't really give hooker or Frankenstein. When does a hooker wear shoulder pads? Asia's look was pulled straight out of a horrifying video game. I loved it. I would talk about the lip syncs, but unfortunately community guidelines exist. So I'll just say this. Yuri did great. She did a back roll, and everyone else, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. Mouth agape the entire time Auntie ripped her arm off. Big Boulay brings up the fact that the movie that the challenge was inspired by is highly problematic, and I've never seen Frankenhooker, but let's just assume that it's as problematic as they say. Why not just do something else? They say they want to reinterpret the movie to get it away from its problematic origins, and that's kind of like RuPaul wearing the Confederate flag dress. Some see it as an artistic stand to power, and others see it as objective coonery. I wonder how people who've seen the movie feel about this challenge? While we bring the girls back for more judging, I want to take this time to talk about who I think is gonna win. Because there's only one more episode until the finale. I think Gray Matter, Asia Consent, and Pi are probably gonna be the top 3, and I think Asia Consent is probably gonna win. If I'm right, that really sucks for Yuri, because I feel like they've really been kicking it into high gear, and it's the best to do that toward the end of the season because it'll be the last thing that people remember, so maybe I'll put Yuri in as a third alternate. With that said, we then find out that Yuri is the winner of this week's challenge, their first challenge win. Then Big Boulay gets messy and asks the contestants who should go home tonight and why. Asia says Gray Matter, and then Auntie says Yuri, even though she just won the challenge.
I think it should be Yuri.
Gray Matter then addresses Asia Consent and says Killer Dolls was a performance challenge and I was in the top. Drag her, but then Gray Matter says Yuri should go home tonight.
I would have to say Yuri as well.
This is stupid because yes, Yuri's track record isn't the best, but she just won like 5 seconds ago. And then Pi says Yuri should go home, and then Asia changes her answer in the confessionals from Gray Matter to Yuri.
Realty, I didn't know that we could say Yuri. Otherwise, I would have said her.
This whole moment was so stupid and annoying. They asked who should go home tonight. They actually think Yuri should go home tonight after winning the challenge. Do they understand how bitter and stupid they all look? Also deaf, because they said tonight. Maybe Yuri shouldn't win the show, but should she go home tonight? No, of course not. So what I think is they all just said Yuri because they didn't want to answer the question and they know Yuri's not going to win. We find out the bottom 2 are Auntie and Pi, meaning they're both up for extermination. The challenge this week is they have to stand in a cooler. Then the girls talk backstage about the bullshit that just occurred on stage. Pi continues to drag Yuri for being great and winning the challenge.
I feel like your type of drag has not really been pushing the envelope in this competition.
Pi said, congrats for winning, your drag is horrible, and Auntie is sitting there nodding her head. Very funny that the 2 bottom bitches are pressed about being bottom bitches. Well, guess what, Mimi? If you didn't want to be in the bottom, then you should have done better.
Girl, you shouldn't even be here at this point.
Remember when you gave that Charlie Hyde's ass lip sync after forgetting your words in a verse that had like 3 lines? Then Pi starts whining about how everybody had multiple private parts in their looks and she did something different.
And I did something completely off the wall.
How is a butthole any different from dick?
Thank you, Gray Matter, for being the only one to call Pi out for never making sense. Since the exterminations don't mean anything, I'll talk about who I think should stay. Neither of them. They both got on my nerves for the past 2 episodes. They acted juvenile when under pressure, and also they're number 1 again. They got on my nerves. Auntie's best moment was when she called out an obvious narcissist for being self-centered, and Pi has had some great moments, but they have shown time and time again that they are ridiculously immature and only slightly less delusional than Majesty. In terms of winner energy, neither of them have it, but they both looked great in the bottom. After the extermination, we see a death scene for Pi, and that's great. I'm really satisfied with that. I didn't really see it coming. She was performing really well, and I'm just glad it happened because she was getting on my nerves, and some girls forget that this isn't just a competition, it's also a reality television show. Anyways, thanks for watching this review of Dungeons and Drag Queens and Frankenhooker. If you want to see my review of episodes 9 and 10, which includes the finale, then patronize me on the Patreon, and have a good day. They start doing their makeup, and Asia notices Pi seems a little nervous, so they go to the side. Basically, Pi tells Asia that she's in an alliance. In an anemone. Got the giggles. This never happens. Well, I can't choose. Okay, I can't say. They say they want to reinterpret the movie to get it away from its problematic origin. Oranges. It's problematic oranges. Some people